Hey everyone, Ben again with Swift English. So we're going to be taking a look at another TOEFL reading, but this time we're going to be examining a science-based passage. These are quite commonly and frequently found on the exam. Okay, so let's get started with this walkthrough. The word components in the passage is closest in meaning to what? Okay, well I actually know it means parts in real life. That's usually the primary definition, but always check the sentence because they're testing your knowledge of context as well. The creation of life requires a set of chemical elements for making the blank of cells. Okay, so if I say blank of cells, yeah, part of cells, right? That makes sense. B, body is not going to make sense. Combination, no, those are off. Hit next and move on. According to paragraphs 1 and 2, living cells contain which of the following? So this is a detailed question, but we have to refer to 2 paragraphs. And if you find it in one of them, you're good to go. You don't have to necessarily read the other one unless you feel insecure and you want more clues, more information. So living cells, let's see. The creation of life requires a set of chemical elements for making the components of cells. We just read that. Life on Earth uses about 25 of the 92 naturally occurring chemical elements. Okay, 25 out of 92. 25 is our key number here. Let's see if we can find anything already. All chemical elements in the universe except lithium. No, I didn't read that anywhere. Doesn't make sense. About 25 different elements. Yep. About 96% of all known elements. I didn't see that yet. And 92 naturally occurring elements. Okay. So if we're not sure, we'll keep going. So we already eliminated A and we already eliminated D because they said 25 out of 92. But maybe this 96 is tempting. We didn't see it yet, so just read a little bit further just in case. Okay, although, transition word, be careful of this, just 4 of these elements, and they mentioned what these elements are in an M dash, right? Make up about 96%. Oh, this is just what they comprise of, like the mass of the living organism. So C is eliminated, B will be the right answer. Hit next and move on. All right, so here we have a rhetorical purpose question. We have the why, which is telling, and also they highlighted a phrase. So you know 100% you're dealing with this kind of question type. And they always have these little verbs on the side. Heavy elements are continually being manufactured by stars and released into space by stellar deaths. Okay, so their amount compared to hydrogen and helium gradually rises with time. Remember my tip, guys? Read the sentence before it, the sentence that contains the highlighted phrase or portion, and any sentences after that. That's it. So let's come back to the previous paragraph, and you might on the exam have to hit next, or not next, but before, and check it. So always do that. Although all of these heavy elements are quite rare compared to this, but they are found just about everywhere. Okay. So they're found everywhere. Interesting. And then here they say heavy elements are continually being da-da-da. Okay, so, and if I really quickly look at this, heavy elements make up this. Okay, so to explain how it is that elements required for life can be found everywhere. Well, this sentence did kind of mention that. So this makes sense. If I check B, to provide evidence that our solar system is relatively young, I didn't read anything about the youth. No, that doesn't make sense. Choice C, to argue that some solar systems are more likely to support life than others. I didn't encounter that in any of the sentences I just read. The one before the highlighted phrase, the one that contains, and the one after. So that doesn't make sense. Choice D, to explain why heavy elements have greater mass than hydrogen and helium. A false comparison, didn't mention that anywhere. So based on this, the answer has to be A. Okay. So question 4, I noticed the word suggest. That has to be an inference question. Imply, infer, suggest. That which of the following may be a difference, okay, between very old star systems and new star systems. So inference question involving comparisons. Okay, so we got to find the old and new mentioned here. Heavy elements are continually being da-da-da. We remember that. So their amount compared to hydrogen and helium gradually rises with time. I need star systems. I don't care about the heavy elements. So keep going a little faster. In some very old star systems, okay, we're in the right spot. which formed before many heavy elements were produced. Okay, so now read it carefully, guys, especially when you notice commas, em dashes. So in some old star systems, it's referring to this, which formed before many heavy elements were produced. So this is optional sentence. This happened. In some old star systems, the heavy element share may be less than 0.1%. And so this which clause here is just giving us additional information about these old star systems. Okay, so if they formed, and be careful of words like before, okay? They'll help you out a lot. If they formed before heavy elements were produced, what could that mean here? Let's see. You don't want to read the rest of it. Just see if you can pick up anything from the context and apply it here first. Then, if it's still unclear, we'll proceed with additional reading. Older star systems are likely to have fewer planets, moons. I didn't see anything referring to these, planets, moons, asteroids anywhere, based on what I read so far. So skip that. Newer star systems probably contain more hydrogen and helium than older star systems. Did they say that? No, I didn't notice that there. So I think that's basically a false comparison. Choice C, newer star systems probably contain more heavy elements than older star systems. Is this true? Well, I guess so, because here, where is it? They mentioned that these existed or created basically before heavy elements were produced. So this is like, opposite information, right? So if this happened before they were produced, they probably contained light elements. That means it's implying or inferring or suggesting that new star systems produce heavy elements. See how that works? So C is just a paraphrase of the information here. So if old star systems didn't have these heavy elements, then the new ones naturally did. They probably did. Okay, and you could just double check D. No, that doesn't make sense. So hit C and move on. All right, question 5. So these are easy vocab and context questions, because if you have a transition, if you know what that transition means, you got it. It's almost a no-brainer. So no, nevertheless doesn't mean additionally. Remember, nevertheless is like but, or however, or nonetheless. So something's changing, okay? Something's contrasting or conflicting. However, yeah, that's what it means. If you're still not sure, just read the sentence with it. It might help, but you should already know it means however, and move on. All right, so let's see. And before I move on, I just want to mention, choice D is one a lot of students accidentally pick, but on the contrary is referring to opposite information, not necessarily contrasting information. So don't mix this up with however, or but, or nevertheless, or nonetheless. Anyway, so question 6, the word inevitably. So another vocab and context, right? So if something is inevitable, right, guys, it means it has to happen. It must happen. So keep that in mind. So read the sentence first. Moreover, when planetesimals, M dash, okay, this defines what they are. Condense, they come together, right, within a star system. They are inevitably, they have to be made from heavy elements. Why? Because the more common hydrogen and helium remain gaseous. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're not, these light gaseous elements. They're heavy elements. Got it. So typically, no, that means normally, usually, no, this has to happen. So it's not A. Choice B, unsurprisingly, that doesn't make any sense. If something has to happen, it's unsurprising. No, that's not synonymous to this. It doesn't mean the same thing. Necessarily, well, if something's necessary, it's important. We could say it's needed, therefore it has to happen. So choice C looks good. Choice D naturally actually does mean inevitably too in some contexts, but it's not based on this sentence. And if we have this because, giving it a reason, they're inevitably made from this because of this reason, naturally is not strong enough. So choice C makes more sense in this particular context. So keep that in mind. All right, so yeah, choice C is the right answer. All right, so now we're dealing with a highlight sentence. Okay, so jump to the sentence itself, right? Moreover, so we have a transition word. It means like also, right? Furthermore, they're adding information when plantissimals. So they kind of define what they are here. So if you have like something like M dashes or parentheses, guys, advanced tip, super advanced tip here. This information is not essential information. It's not important information. It's optional information, okay? So small objects form, this is basically defining what plantissimals are, all right? Not that important. We want to note the rest of the information about them. Condensed, so when they come together within a forming star system, they're inevitably made from, and we remember that, heavy elements because of this. Okay, so plantissimals may remain in star systems when hydrogen and helium combine with less common, may remain. They didn't say anything about them staying somewhere, so that doesn't make any sense. Choice B, plantissimals are composed of heavy elements because hydrogen and helium stay in the form of gases. Okay, this could make sense. Now, sure, it doesn't have this information about what plantissimals are. It doesn't have to, because this is not important information. But so it still looks good. It's got the important stuff there. Choice C, plantissimals are small solid objects. So this is kind of getting into the definition of what they are, which I said is optional information. It's not essential information, just minor information. So already I don't feel good about B. Choice C, plantissimals are small solid objects that condense within a forming star system and may become planets. Again, okay, so let's see. They kind of define what they are, which we didn't need. We just wanted to know what they do. And they have this here, condensing form stars, okay, and star system and may become planets. They didn't say the may become planets part here. So, and that was actually here. So this is just taking a bunch of words from the text and changing the meaning. So C is wrong. Choice D, when plantissimals accumulate, they gather to form planets, okay. They inevitably contain gaseous as well as heavy elements. That is wrong information as well. Because they said, if you remember this sentence, because the more common hydrogen and helium remain gaseous. That means plantissimals, they don't have this. But this sentence here is assuming they have both the gases and the heavy elements. No, they only have the heavy elements. So D is wrong, B is the right answer. Click it and move on. All right, so here is a detailed factual question. So which of the following is true? Like, so what do we know about this? About possible life on other planets. And if you don't find possible life, maybe they might paraphrase it, right? So note that this argument does not change even if we allow for life, very different from life on Earth. Okay, so life on Earth is carbon-based. Okay, so they said other planets, keep that in mind, not Earth. And most biologists believe that life elsewhere, well, be careful here, guys, they're paraphrasing. So they're using elsewhere as a pronoun referring to other planets, obviously, is likely to be carbon-based as well. So as well means too, also. So it's not just Earth that's carbon-based. It's other planets, you know, other bodies. So it cannot be based on silicon or nitrogen. That's not what I just read in my clue sentences. It could not survive on Earth. That's not what I just read. It could probably, it probably would not be made of elements produced by, that's not what I read. So by process of elimination, it's D. But if you want to double check really quick, just to make sure the logic is sound, is likely to have carbon keyword as its chemical basis. Yeah, click next, move on. Okay, we have an accept question or not question. This is the accept version. So be very careful, guys. So find the location first. Are true of organic molecules, keywords here. On early Earth, maybe a keyword, right? Except what? All right. So what's true about these organic molecules? Somewhat stricter requirement is the presence of these elements and molecules. Okay, probably that. That can be used as a ready. Okay, so this is our starting point. Now we're going to look for these one by one. And every time we look at a new option or choice, return to the previous position, okay? Wherever our starting clue sentence was. Okay, so some of them are probably brought to Earth by asteroids or comets. Is that true about these molecules? Asteroids or comets? Asteroids or comets, where are you? I don't see it, but just be patient here. Well, okay, molecules carried to Earth by asteroids and comets. That checks out. So A is true, can't be the answer. All the following except, right? One of them's wrong here or not mentioned. Some of them probably form in the atmosphere and oceans. Reset, don't continue because you might miss it. Always come back to the previous position and then skim really quick. Okay, so quickly. They were formed in these two places. Atmospheres and oceans. Most likely came from a combination of three sources, so it should be here. Chemical reactions. Well, there's oceans, okay, and those carried by asteroids and comets. Okay, I want to find atmosphere too. The first two sources can occur only on worlds with atmospheres, okay, or oceans. Okay, now I'm really sure. That's it. So B is true, can't be it. Choice C, they were probably significantly different. Be careful of like extreme language, probably significantly different. When you see these kind of crazy adverbs, they might make a false assumption. A lot of the times they're wrong, not always, but double check it. From organic molecules presented on other planets in the solar system. Well, I already read this. I didn't even, end up reading anything about their differences anywhere. If I read the rest of this, no. They don't mention that, so C is incorrect. Now, if you're not sure, you could check D. But by process of elimination, we already got it. But let's just check it anyway. They included complex molecules. So if we come back here, we did, just as early Earth probably had an organic soup of amino acids and other complex molecules. So if it's similar to Earth in this regard, and Earth had these things, well, that's true, obviously, of organic molecules on early Earth, right? So, okay, choice C is our answer. Come to question 10. The phrase widespread among is closest in meaning to what? So another vocab question. Vocab in context. So if something's widespread, obviously it's everywhere, right? So studies of meteorites and comets suggest that organic molecules are widespread among blank, both asteroids and comets. So they're commonly found in asteroids and comets, basically. Now, which one's closest to this? Frequently present in. Sounds good, but let's check the rest. Widely separate? No, that doesn't make sense. A significant part of? No. We want something about frequency here. Found throughout the bodies of. Okay. So, no. Throughout the bodies of? This is really specific, but no, it's widespread. It's just found, all over. So it has to be A. A is the right answer. Frequently present in. Choice 11, question 11, the word intact. So another vocab in context. Okay. So intact, if something's intact, guys, like it's not separated, right? It's just whole. It's together, basically. But always read the sentence that contains it to get the context too. Otherwise, sometimes it could be another answer. Moreover, it's like also, while these molecules might stay intact beneath the surface, so like they stay together, right? They probably cannot react with each other unless something happens. Okay. So buried, no, that doesn't make sense. Whole, yeah. That's together, right? Confined, no, that doesn't make sense. Active, no. B is the right answer. Move on. All right, according to paragraph 6, why? So, okay, we have this why, but it's not a rhetorical purpose, guys, because there's no highlighted phrase here, and they don't have like verbs here, like to emphasize, to address something, to question something. So with these, sometimes you might have to read the entire paragraph, or just in general, since it's a detailed factual question, just try to find these keywords and then you'll know where to look. Why is life keyword unlikely to be found on any planet that lacks, that's missing, you should know this word lacks, atmosphere, and a surface or subsurface liquid medium. A bunch of keywords here, guys. Okay, let's see. So why is life unlikely to be found on any planet that, doesn't meet these conditions, that are missing these things? So studies of meteorites and comets suggest that organic molecules are widespread among both Okay, that doesn't tell me why. Because each body was repeatedly struck by asteroids and comets during. I have a because here, but this is not really mentioning any of those keywords here, so be careful. Okay, heavy bombardment. Each should have received at least some organic molecules. I still need to know about the why, and I didn't find any of these keywords, so keep going. Don't slow down. However, transition word, be careful. These molecules tend to be destroyed on Moreover, also, transition word again, be careful. They might stay intact beneath the surface. So extra insight or information, as they evidently do on asteroids and comets. But, so it's a while sentence. Imagine you have this but, this kind of surprise. They probably cannot react with each other unless some kind of liquid or gas is available to move them about. Okay, so, well, if they're talking about organic materials here, or molecules, I should say, that's referring to life. It's just synonymous with life, based on what we read in the passage so far. So if it's unlikely to be found here, let's keep going. So, because we haven't found surface or subsurface liquid medium, right? So just keep going. Thus, if we limit our search to worlds on which organic molecules are likely to be involved in chemical reactions, we can probably rule out any world that lacks both. Oh, okay. This is more clear. An atmosphere and a surface or subsurface liquid medium such as water. Okay, so this is a result of, the information they mentioned here. All right. So organic molecules must be protected from solar radiation by must be. So this is extreme language. Already I don't feel good about it, and that's not what I read anywhere. Choice B, planets that lack both of these features are probably too small. Again, extreme language, suspicious language, probably too small. So this is probably wrong to have been hit by no. Organic molecules need a liquid or gaseous environment to bring them together so they can interact. Well, yeah, remember this part right here? They probably cannot react with each other unless, keyword, right? Some liquid or gas is available to move them about, to have that interaction, right? That reaction. So C looks good, but let's just check D. An atmosphere is needed to protect organic molecules. Is needed. Did they say an atmosphere is required anywhere? No, I didn't run into that anywhere. So that's the wrong answer. C is the right choice. Move on. All right, so sentence insertion. Always start with the sentence here. So guys, tip, very important tip. Don't think necessarily in terms of transition words always. A lot of them do have them, but think about like what is the common pattern here? So I don't see any transition devices like in fact, for example, therefore, as a result, right? But I notice what is the pattern here? To answer the question, it's about a question. To answer the question, so they're going to address this in the paragraph, right? Could life exist on other planets? So they're going to answer this. That's the pattern. We must first look at the necessary preconditions for life. And these are just keywords, right? So life exists on other planets, necessary preconditions of life. So our sentences have to tie into this. They have to be connected or related to these specific, words and information here. So, okay, choice A, if we plug this in, this sentence after it has to make sense. The creation of life requires, well, they have necessary preconditions. That's about requirements, right, for life. Then they paraphrased it by saying the creation of life requires a set of chemical elements for making the component of cells. This looks good already. But let's check B, C, and D. These can be, kind of complicated questions sometimes. And the choices can sometimes be close. Life on Earth uses da-da-da. Well, here, the structure of this paragraph, it seems like they're going into the specifics of these life requirements, right, for these cells. And then here they have like a result sentence that usually comes in the end anyway, or later in the paragraph, right? And again, they refer to these elements used by life, right? So C and D are just not going to make sense. This has to come early. And it almost feels like a topic sentence, which usually, or like a thesis. They usually appear in the beginning of a paragraph. So A has to be the answer, square A, square 1. All right, so final question, summary question. So let's see. The chemical elements that make up cells are likely to be available on just about any planet. Yeah, that was one of the common themes, right? The main arguments. So this is a topic sentence right here. Now we need 3 more main ideas. Somewhere between 4 and 5 naturally occurring. Right away, I don't feel good. Huge red flag. When they mention something specific like 4 and 25, it's kind of like playing with my memory. So when something's that detailed, that specific, referring to, these figures or these statistics or a date of some kind, most of the time they're incorrect. So, okay, let's check choice B. The most common elements used by life, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, are also, so this part's optional information, but this here involves the essential information. So I have to tell myself, did they have any questions or answers related to this in the passage? The most common elements used by life, are also some of the most widely distributed elements in the universe. Yeah, the widely distributed part was something they kept repeating throughout a lot of these questions and in different paragraphs in the passage. I remember that vividly. So B is definitely a main idea. Drag and drop it in the box. Choice C, life is most likely, be careful of this language, to be found in the oldest star systems where heavy elements have been continually produced since those systems were formed. So it's kind of referring to the comparison here, but this most likely kind of makes it suspicious, extreme language. Let's skip it just in case. It's kind of specific too. All right, so choice D, planets, moons, asteroids, and comets are all composed of heavy elements, which contain the basis for any life form, carbon-based or otherwise. Okay, so I remember they kept talking about the heavy elements and planetesimals, right, over and over again, you know. So I think D sounds right, so we can drop D in the box. So far we have B and D. Now we're probably down to these two. Life is most likely to exist on those bodies that were not heavily bombarded. I don't remember any questions about the heavily bombardment part, okay? Or bombarding of something like asteroids and comets. So since I don't remember this in my question, it's probably wrong. All right, could be a minor idea too, right? But that would still make it wrong. But something this specific and wasn't in my question is wrong. Choice F, organic molecules are widely available. We did have a question near the end, right? Maybe it was question 12 about organic molecules, right? And their interaction, remember that? So are widely available, but chemical reactions, well, there you go. Among these molecules probably require either an atmosphere or liquid medium. Yeah, remember that. If they don't have this, they can't exist. Yeah, that was in my question, and this was related to the answer to that question as well. So there you have it. So B and D and F are our answers here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So please do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.